BBC News at midday. The Minister Nick Gibb has denied suggestions the government hasn't done enough to help schools in England carry out essential maintenance on buildings containing crumbling concrete. Writing in The Times, the head of the National Audit Office spending watchdog, Gareth Davies, said ministers had wasted money on emergency repairs because they neglected schools for too long. More than 100 sites haven't been able to fully open this week because of problems caused by rack concrete. Mr Gibb says everything is being done to tackle the problem.
We have caseworkers, they're working very hard and dealing with the practicalities. We have arrangements in place with utility companies, with porta cabin suppliers, with companies that put props in to prop up rack where that's the most suitable solution. We have property experts available through the caseworker to identify alternative accommodation.
Labour's Jonathan Ashworth, who's the Shadow Paymaster General, said the Chancellor needed to back up his pledge to support schools.
Jeremy Hunt, who promised to step in and fix this in terms of the money, he needs to be held to that promise. He needs to deliver because parents want to know what is happening. It's clearly unacceptable to leave schools in the lurch for months and months and months. And it is, as one head teacher said to me yesterday, these are darker days than COVID for our children.
The government is expected to change planning rules to make it easier for developers in England to build onshore wind turbines. Councils will be able to approve developments as long as there is community support for them. The government is under pressure to make the change from some of its own MPs who've threatened to vote against its energy bill. Labour has previously adopted a similar policy. A BBC investigation has found that 3 major water companies in England, Thames, Southern and Wessex Water, illegally released sewage hundreds of times last year when it wasn't raining. Discharging in dry conditions is banned because it can lead to high concentrations of sewage in waterways, causing environmental damage. David Henderson is from the industry body Water UK.
Well, it should be investigated, and if the rules are found to have been broken, then the full force of the law should apply to those who are culpable. But I think really enforcement is not the way we're going to fix the ultimate issue, which is to reduce and ideally eliminate sewage going into our rivers and seas, which is why we have unveiled an ambitious plan to triple investment so that we can tackle the root cause of the problem.
Wessex Water said there were issues with the data it had provided. England's 6 other water companies didn't provide data because they're under investigation by the Environment Agency. The grandfather of Sarah Sharif, who was found dead at her home in Surrey last month, has told the BBC that his son claims her death was an accident. Mohammed Sharif confirmed he met the 10-year-old's father in Pakistan, but was not told what had happened to her. Police want to question Urfan Sharif, his partner and brother. A Japanese man has admitted starting a fire at an animation studio that killed 36 people. Shinji Aoba carried out the attack in Kyoto 4 years ago because he believed the firm had stolen his ideas. More from our Asia-Pacific editor, Mickey Bristow.
The defendant is accused of starting the fire with petrol he'd bought at a hardware store the day before. Many of his victims were unable to escape the 3-storey building and died of smoke inhalation. Mr. Aoba also suffered severe burns in the attack on Kyoto Animation and appeared in court in a wheelchair. He said he hadn't thought so many people would die. Despite admitting to starting the fire, the defendant has pleaded not guilty. His lawyers said he was unable to distinguish between good and bad.
The UK's biggest local authority, Birmingham City Council, has effectively filed for bankruptcy. It has issued a Section 114 notice which prevents all but essential spending to ensure services are still provided. The Labour-controlled council has called the move a necessary step after it was hit with a £760 million bill to settle equal pay claims earlier this year.